Hey you, welcome back to the game room. Let's jump into it. The PlayStation is no stranger to puzzle games, with legends like Tetris and Bust a Move joining then newcomers Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo and Tecmo Stackers. But if you dig a little deeper into the library, you'll find one of the platform's best puzzle games hiding in plain sight. Builder's Block's history is one of intrigue and subtlety. It started life exclusively in Japan arcades under the name Landmaker, where it debuted in 1998. Arcade fans looking to research the source material should know that it runs on Taito's F3 combo board setup. Like many other games of that era, it features a wonderfully bright anime-inspired graphics set, cheeky animations, and uses both colors and combination patterns for its base gameplay. Wildly styled characters fend off against each other with their own drop techniques, eventually going face-to-face with two end boss characters. The game's hook comes in the form of its visual style and power-up system. Like the previously mentioned Super Puzzle Fighter, when playing in arcade mode, you will have to chain together blocks to create land masses. As the size of the square grows, so too will the building style and damage potential of the cluster. Building strength starts as little as 2x2 homes, and as the square continues being built, eventually becomes an enormous skyline. Once you have a deadly enough sized cityscape, you launch another standard piece into the corner of the square to clear it, causing an appropriate number of neutral blocks to fall on the opponent's side. To help with the player's structural integrity are power-up blocks. These can be generated by 3 square wide and 4 square wide structures along with randomly appearing. The star will cause all matching colors of the trigger piece to disappear. The moon power-up will turn every piece into the trigger block's color, creating an instant small city to tear down. Unique to the arcade game is the arrow block, which sends the entire deck back one space, buying the player more time to set up their city. For the truly adventurous, collapsing buildings that are 5 squares or higher will generate bonuses, with the highest possible 7 wide generating the sun itself. These power-ups will remove a section of your playfield and replace it with a variety of buildings. Quickly filling in the remaining gaps will grant the user a speedy set of neutral drops launched at the opponent's playfield. Just like in other puzzlers, players are tasked with choosing their on-screen avatar. Their selection will determine the ending of the game as well as the offensive drop on their rival. Fans of Puzzle Fighter will take to arcade mode instantly, especially with the humor and trash talking the characters do. Animation in the arcade game is wonderfully cheeky, if perhaps there's maybe just a bit too much of it. When larger combinations are activated, full screen images of the characters pop up and slide across the screen, blocking the view of all those involved. When players are able to create multiple larger blocks, each character has animations that will play over the newly formed pieces. Definitely amusing, but also distracting if you get caught up in the action. Gamers can tackle the single-player campaign or bring a friend over for versus fun. Landmaker in its original form would have been a wonderful budget title release, but Taito made a brilliant decision by essentially remastering the game in a more cerebral adventure. With arcade mode out of the way, it's time to discuss your next addiction, Builder's Block's Puzzle Mode. Puzzle Mode takes the arcade game's base concept and filters it through a modern perspective. First, it removes the arrow block from the possibilities. Second, it provides an already populated board with a building size objective. The catch is that rather than face an opponent, the player is limited to the number of moves they can make per turn. Once the turn is up, the wall will push the playfield forward. The goal is to make the minimum sized building before the wall pushes the blocks too far down the board, destroying the needed space to make the target city. This is where Puzzle Mode's genius hides. There's no timer. It's just the player, a set of moves, and an oncoming wall. The revelation comes in the amount of moves that one is allowed. On the turn that the player creates the required size of city block, their set of moves is expanded and reset without causing the wall to drop. Crucially, the most important aspect, this reset of moves is how you'll be able to unlock the 6 square and 7 square constructs, which is extremely important since not every level allows you the chance to make them. Once you have that knowledge, the real goal of Puzzle Mode is brought into view. Playing off the arcade original's character roster, Puzzle Mode presents fictitious but clearly inspired human characters that are all looking to build the next great mecha. Each letter represents a different visual style and heritage presented on screen. Rather than points, the game tracks the number of people living within your city. Each letter is divided into 6 levels with 3 stages each, for a total of 18 puzzles to solve per. Of cheeky mention is the all clear piece. You're awarded this for clearing a stage. Once the stage goal is achieved, the red statue pops up on the play field, except it's an actual play piece. If the player doesn't trigger it with a game piece, they can still create buildings that are no longer possible. The issue is that it's a viable piece. It will block and deflect your shots just like a normal one, as well as cause a game over if it's pushed off the ledge. It's worth noting that while red, if you generate a building larger than the required one on the first try, the all clear piece actually arrives as a darker gray piece, signaling your achievement. All 6 levels per letter are similarly themed. Level 1 usually concerns just making the building size you need. Level 2 revolves around more unique existing pieces, all the way up to level 6, where dastardly mental hoops are the norm. Finishing each of the letters A through F, with F being the boss level, will open a corresponding bonus letter. The bonus boss letter is one of the most mentally taxing, grin-inducing moments I've ever experienced on the PlayStation hardware. The number of times you reset a stage because it really is your fault only strengthens the resolve to figure it out. While you can finish puzzle mode with any score, the main goal is to achieve an A+ ranking for your population. The only way to get that ranking is to take full advantage of the larger sized building creations and rocking their timer resets. Aside from finishing each stage, population points are gained based on how much larger you made the buildings, as well as any additional buildings made after the fact. Exploiting the scoreboard is the only way to reach that A+ rank, but the game is programmed in a devious, almost casino-like way that will literally make you hedge bets against your own skill. What do I mean? Builder's Block only allows you to save your progress outside of the stages, meaning you can save after you win the whole letter, or quit out of it because of a loss. The gambling part comes in the next attempt. Builder's Block only tracks 1 score per letter. If you had an amazing million-point run but lost at the last second, and then retried with a lower score, it's the second lower score that stays in memory. You essentially have to reload the game if you don't improve your scores the second time, or let it go and try again. Once the scores are tallied and letters finished, Builder's Block will rate your work with a letter grade, a city level rank, and a small description. The better you do, the better the city's livelihood is. One of my cities struggled with air pollution with a level 3 ranking, but my level 6 ranking city turned into a capital. They even visually track your progress with a mini city scale, but fully fleshing out the scale only gets you to about an average ranking. Having successfully beaten arcade mode with a couple of characters and finally run the table in puzzle mode with a final A+ rank, the question is it worthy of having in your collection? Absolutely. Builder's Block is a rare breed of game. It's an obscure arcade game given life on a then modern platform with a modest release from a then slowly sinking into obscurity publisher in Jaleco. With the game's cover being a confusing Photoshop collage and the back looking like every other puzzle game you've seen, it's understandable that no one would give it a second look in its original print run. In reality, it's one of the most intriguing, addictive, and heavy time sinks I've played in a very long time. It not only rewards the player, but demands they get better and expects them to get better. Some stages that I originally left behind with a population of 1 million now sit at over 400 million. The feeling of finally achieving that first unbelievable 7-square building, tied to knowing you can always do just that much better in each stage, is an emotional high very few games can provide, much less provide on a constant basis. While the lack of saving between stages and not just defaulting to your highest score will put some folks off, I cannot state just how good Builder's Block really is. Its flaws are few, its puzzles ingenious, and if you have a friend to spar with in Versus mode, it's an all-new arena. On Game-Rave's review scale, Builder's Block ranks an excellent 9 out of 10, one of the highest scores ever awarded. If you're looking to snag yourself a copy, it averages about $25 to $30 shipped on eBay. I would suggest snagging it while you can, as I can see it becoming an issue as more people dive in nostalgia in full set building. Alright guys, that does it for this episode. Be safe, wear your masks. I will see you in the comment section below. There is so much more to do on site and on YouTube. Take care, you guys. Have a good one.